What's up, Moto buddies? Got a new bike for you here. This is a fresh job. This is a 2021 350 Excf. Notice how on the 21s they've got some of the gray in there. It's growing on me. I did not like it at first. I got to tell you, I thought that was a big. I was disappointed. Gray's super trendy right now. I thought they were jumping on the bandwagon, and maybe they are, but it's starting to grow on me, and it's not as annoying as it used to be. I've been looking at the 21s now for a while. We've had quite a few come through, and I like it. So let's take a look at this particular one. This rider is a guy who's going to be tearing up the single track out in Colorado on this machine. He's from the Bay Area, and he's got a lot of good trails up in his area. And then this bike's going to be running dual duty in multiple states. And so single track is really the direction that this guy's going to be spending his time. There's a few things that aren't here. We don't have tires on it yet. Let's see, what else? Rear sprocket, we're going to do rear sprocket. So we've got a handful of things that we still need to do to this bike, but just due to some time constraints, I wanted to throw this video up before I move on to the next thing. So let's start at the back. We have tidied up the tail. We took off the US spec, turn signal and license plate bracket, and then we threw on the Enduro plate. And for now, we're running the stock US tail light. As soon as we have it available, we're going to put the Taco Moto multi-light in there. That's going to be turn signal, brake, and run all in the same light housing. We didn't have that available for this particular bike, so we just tidied up his rear end with that. Everything on the back end is stock, and he's got some Poly Sport swing arm guards in there. We threw on the Evo Air, put him in the low position. It's nice to free up some of the leg space on the bike, and by moving him down. And then he's got the standard height seat. This concept seat is not tall, and it's not the stock size, or I'm sorry, it's not the low size, it's the stock size. So they just call that the standard comfort. It's a little bit wider here in the back end. That's what makes it the comfort. If it was a true standard, it would be this width all the way back. If it was the XL, it would be like another inch off to the sides. Those are not my favorite. They're kind of uncomfortable. They hit you in the back of the legs. I like the comfort. That happens to be my favorite. Stock gearing, probably going to leave that the same, but we did pull off the stock dome washer and put the Dirt Tricks on. And when you do that, the Dirt Tricks washer is bigger than the stock dome washer. And then you've got the rubber damper in here, which was for sound, chain sound. And just take a razor blade and slice that off. Be careful, don't cut yourself, pull that off. And then you have plenty of room to throw the Dirt Tricks on and then put your bolt back in. We've got the Recluse Cx Clutch going on this bike, molecule skid plate. Now we put the IMS tank on here, and we have a video that walks through the difference between the IMS and the Acerbis tanks. And so this one happens to be the IMS, and then that means you need to get creative when you put these larger tanks on with how you do your fuel line routing. Often it will throw it off of how it was at stock. So on the IMS, this is the 3.0, the 3-gallon tank. This is the particular way that we ran it, and then we threw the Golan inline quick disconnect fuel filter on there. Remember, guys, to always put grease on your O-ring when you reinstall these two back together, so you don't fold and then tear that O-ring, a very common failure. And then all of these, we use the single tab ear clamps on all these, and the fuel hose, again, just to note, you might have to get creative and reroute that. Let's see, in terms of, let me see if I can get this air box off. These are always a pain. Here's another little pro tip. Put some grease on these little metal tabs right here, these little bumpers. You got one on the top and one on the bottom. I will throw some grease, some silicone or whatever grease you have, wheel bearing grease, on here as well, and that makes it easier to come off. So as far as the air filter goes, we have the stock air filter with PC Racing filter skin, and then the PC Racing filter base gasket. That is a really trick combination. On this bike, we took the reeds out, they're gone, and this is like an air filter upgrade that we do on all the bikes. And then we cut off this little air dam right here so that you've got a straight shot of air in there. You can also get a vented airbox cover. I don't think they have one in gray yet, and the orange didn't quite suit the bike, and the white didn't suit it either, so I'll leave that off for now. So we just cut that tab out. I've seen guys also drill holes in the side of the airbox to get, and then put in like little mesh screens over that to get more air in there. I like just slicing off the back tab on there to do that. And the reason we did that is because we have the reeds out, but we also have a get ECU on this thing. And we've got also up here the traction control knob and then the map switch. So that's our get ECU system. And so with all that extra, let's talk about the last thing, and that's the exhaust system. So we took out the restrictive end cap. It has about an 80% obstruction, and threw on a Pro Moto, and that's straight shot, the inside pipe. So this 43 millimeter through pipe comes through, and then that's the outlet diameter here on the end cap. So with all of those mods, those intake and exhaust mods with the Get ECU, this bike is an absolute screamer. Oh, it's super fun to ride. Now, when you ride these bikes stock, they're very choked up and restricted and not powerful, not entertaining, not fun. They don't like to wheelie, and now this is the front end of this bike comes up super easy. Even though it's a 350, lots of torque, lots of pulling power. Does really good with this setup. So we talked about the IMS tank. That's the 3 gallon. And up here on the bars, we have the Scott's stabilizer. And then we've got the BRP undermounts with the rubber isolation dampener system. That's really cool. We like that. And then as far as up here, he's got for an instrument, the Trail Tech. And then down here, we leave the stock instrument on, and that's just so you can log total miles. Some guys will move these Voyager Pros. They're kind of expensive, and they'll move them from bike to bike, put them in a side-by-side or a snowmobile. And then the machine, this bike will continually accrue its mileage and hours here on the stock instrument. And it's out of the way. You don't even realize it's there. And so it's, you know, no problem to leave it on there. And then he runs, you run the GPS odometer. And then the wheel speed sensor goes into that. And then as far as the power, we piggyback power from the stock odometer. So when the bike is on and the odometer is getting power, it's also powering the Voyager Pro. So it's the same circuit. So we have a connector, a quick disconnect connector that just piggybacks the two together, and they operate simultaneously. Stout mount with the plate, very cool setup. Moto Minded puts those out. And then as far as the bar guards, these are the Reflex Racing. And what makes these so great is they pivot here, the steel braided cable. So any of the bar flex, and we like the Pro Taper bars. These are the Evos. And the thing about the Evos is they're quite a bit more flexible than the stock Necken bars. And if you have a bar that'll move and give you some comfort there, you're going to want a bar guard that will flex and not add more rigidity to the system. And so the Reflex Racing lets us do that. And then as far as the grips, we've got the OD Rouge. These are our favorite grips. They're just super squishy, very thick. I think they are for sure my favorite grip. And then on the levers, we've got the Mountain Engineering. This is the clutch lever. And then the brake on the other side. We'll take a look at that. As far as the mirrors go, we've got the ram ball mount. And then this is the scrambler. So this is the double take scrambler. Nice little mirror. It has a reflective sticker in there if you want to put that on. And then the small arm. And as you know, with all of the with all their mirror systems, they just fold in really easily, and then you can run it in the vertical position or down. Gives you lots of flexibility with that. These are very cool. We like these mirrors a lot, use them on a lot of projects. Here's something else we use very often. It's the Moto Minded. So the LX80. So this is the ultra bright, super ridiculously powerful light, and it's in the Moto Minded bracket. And the killer app is that you can adjust this. This one is pretty tight. I think we if I had two hands pushing on that, I'd be able to move that light, and so you can change the pivot. So instead of other lighting systems where you have to get to the screw and the stock as well, there's a screw in here, and you have to loosen that, and then you can swing out the whole lens assembly. This light lets you just grab it and then tilt it and push it. Very very cool. As far as wire management and the bracket for the light, we have this is the Moto Minded system. With the headlight mask off, you can see now the bracket. So it's got these brass inserts here where you mount your headlight mask. Super rugged, very sturdy. And then this is the flat plate back there, and this gives you a lot of little holes for zip ties. So you can take, now this looks like a hot mess, guaranteed. The thing is it looks like a hot mess when it's stock. What we're trying to do here is just splay this wiring out to give it some to get it as close and tight to the bracket as possible, because you've got this headlight coming in here, and so you want to make room as you can for that. And down here we've got the Motoco turn signals. These are the 360 fork wrap signals, and they're set up so that they are on run and then flash. Very, very cool. And then you've got the LED. So this is an LED specific flasher that is compatible with those. And all the lights on this, all the signal lights on this will be LED, and so you're going to need that. Just taking another look at a couple of the switches up here. We've got the multi-function start and kill switch all in one. That frees up some real estate on the bars. Again, we looked at that a minute ago, goes in there. And here's the clever lever from Midwest Mountain Levers. They're very cool. As far as these bars, what I forgot to mention a minute ago is we tap the metal, create threads in the handlebars themselves, then put an insert in there, and when this bolt goes in, it's just threading into the bar. It's hooking itself, attaching itself to the bar. It's not using one of those expanding aluminum cam situations that you get with a lot of bar guards. Those things tend to get blown out and fail and just create problems and hassles. And this is a lifetime system, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's really reliable. It's the way to go. Down here on the radiators, these are the Trail Tech radiator guards. They do a nice job, protect the front, and then they've got some extra width here on the side, so if you take a side hit, it'll protect out the radiator. And then on the front wheel, he had the dealer install KTM hard parts. This is just a disc cover. It's basically a mud guard. Don't be fooled that that is protecting the disc from any impacts or logs or rocks. It's just basically a stick and mud guard as far as that goes. And we threw on the SKF seal wipers. He's going to be in the mud, in the mountains, in the rain, and that will help protect the pre-wiper on the seals up there. Recluse Cx Clutch. The CX system gives you the torque drive friction plates as well, and that gives you a couple more steels and a couple more frictions, and the torque delivery is fantastic. Your oil will last longer. There's less shearing through manual clutch abuse. And then the engine temps are reduced, often significantly through running a Recluse as opposed to a standard clutch, and the CX even more so. Fantastic. We really like the Recluse. We got rid of the O2 sensor with the Get ECU. It's a race ECU, off-road competition use only, and so it's not looking for the O2 signal, so that's been pulled away. Bike's now running in open loop, and suspension is stock for now. He might get that upgraded and changed later on. So that is probably it. Let us know in the comments if you like any of these products, or if you know of anything that does a good job that we might want to try and test on a future upcoming project. Let us know if you think the gray is working for you. I'm still not convinced, but I'm not annoyed by it anymore as much as I was. So thanks for watching our videos. Go out and get some adventure.